right. Welcome, everybody. I'm not presenting tonight. I'm just introducing the presenter. Nice to see some new faces. Can you hear me? Yeah. So welcome. This is just going to be an evening of fun, hands-on, and delicious babka making. Done by my good friend Miriam. We're old friends, and my honor to introduce her. She is the best babka baker that I've ever. Okay. Oh, okay. This is the thing.
Okay, time out. We're gonna fix this and we'll be back.
I don't know what I'm doing.
We don't even have commercials.
I know, we need anyone want to put on a little show?
All right, everybody.
I just like literally, I literally.
I got it.
Sure. Okay, well, while Lady does that, I'll just talk to you for a minute since this camera is still working so everybody can see me. Hi, I'm Miriam Litzman, and I have a business here in Phoenix, Arizona called Oven Fresh Challah, where I sell challah and babka. I've definitely been taking it a little slow since COVID started, just because when COVID started, I like shifted my whole business, and then I had a baby and things got hectic, but it's still my passion and it's still something I love to do. And even if I don't always do it as a business, I'm still always baking. So some mornings I wake up and I don't have any work to do that day, and I'll just be like, I'm gonna make some muffins or I'm gonna make some cookies, because it's like in my blood and I just love to do it. So when it comes to babka, which is what we're doing tonight, I would say it's for sure my all-time favorite thing that I bake, and the favorite thing that I sell to my customers. Like whenever a customer comes and wants to buy a challah from me, which is like the typical thing that they buy, they always say, do you have any babka? Like they definitely want babka too, and everybody loves it. And I understand why. If any of you have ever had a babka before, you know, it's just absolutely delicious. It's like the best version of cake that you can imagine. Who here has ever had a babka before? Had a piece? Okay, good. And who here has made babka before? With me? So it's one of those things that's a little intimidating. You look at the ingredients and you look at the instructions on the internet and you're just like, no way, there's no way I could do that. So I'm gonna walk you through it and show you it's actually quite simple and quite fun. So in front of you, you'll see that I made the dough. I did that at home earlier today. I'm gonna make the dough for you here now so that you can see how it's done. And that way, if you do choose to go home and try it yourself, you have like more of a visual of what exactly is supposed to happen. So my daughter asked me before, why is babka called babka? And it's quite simple. Babka, it stems from the word babushka, which is like bubby in the old country, because the bubbies, the grandmothers, they used to take a little bit of the challah dough when they were making challah, whatever was left over, they would take it and put some chocolate or cinnamon in it, and then that became the babka. And then it just passed on from generation to generation, and now we have so many different modern versions of babka. I'm putting on my gloves now, but you don't have to do it yet, just because I'm going to start making the dough. You'll do it when we actually put the babka together later. Can everybody hear me? Yeah. Okay, good. So yeah, the cool thing about babka is that right now today we're going to be making chocolate babka, but there are so many different modern takes and twists on babka. People make them savory, sweet. You can make it, sometimes I make like a cream cheesecake babka. It's pretty much a blank canvas, which is the dough, which is what I'm gonna do now. And anything you want can go on the inside. All right, so the first ingredient in babka is sugar. It takes 1.5 cups of sugar. I'm gonna put that in. No, 3/4 of a cup of sugar. I'll tell you why I said that, because this is a full recipe, but when I make it at home, I double it because I make a lot at a time and I have it memorized. So I said, that's why I needed the card, because I always make more than the recipe that I give out. So it's 3/4 of a cup of sugar. About this. Now the next ingredient is yeast. If you've never worked with yeast before, it's seriously the magic ingredient of any yeast-based dough, any bread, challah, babka. And what the yeast does is the yeast is what causes it to rise. So if you're making a cake, you'll use like baking powder or baking soda, but in yeast doughs, it's going to be yeast. So I'm going to add the yeast. Then we're going to add water, 1.5 cups of warm water, and that is going to activate the yeast to make it come alive. So the water and the sugar and the yeast all together is going to, right now the yeast is dead, it doesn't do anything, but when you put the water into the yeast, it activates it, and you're going to see it's going to make little bubbles, and that means the yeast is working, it's alive. And later, when your babka dough is done, it's going to start to rise, and that's because of the yeast. So if you see in your dough, if you feel it, do you feel how it's kind of like has like a bit of a pushback? Like you press it and then it kind of, your finger, the dough pushes back. That's because of the yeast. Okay, so we're going to give it like 20 seconds to activate. In real life, if you guys weren't all waiting for me to do this, I'd probably give it 5 minutes, but we're not going to give it 5 minutes today. We'll just give it. No, I don't mix it. So when it comes to the dough, and please feel free to ask me any questions you want. We're a small group. If you have any questions as I'm talking, please talk back to me. When it comes to dough and when it comes to challah, babka doughs, the less you touch it, the better. So I have a spatula or a spoon that I could mix it with, but it's only going to be at the end when everything's in the bowl that I'm going to actually start to mix it. It's not something you want to touch. You want to kind of leave it alone and let the ingredients come together on their own. Okay. So the next ingredient is margarine, butter, or oil. If you use butter, obviously it's going to be a dairy dough. I stay away from that because in the world of kosher, you have to be careful to keep meat and milk separate. So whenever I bake, I always bake with non-dairy ingredients. So if anybody ever wants to have one of my baked goods with a meat meal or something that is meat, they can do that. So I'm going to use oil in this, and the one that you have, I used margarine. So it's really your preference. I wouldn't recommend using anything like olive oil because it has the wrong taste and the wrong consistency, but regular canola oil or even avocado oil, which is tasteless, for a healthier option, you can totally use that.
You can melt the water through it as a butter?
Yeah, you melt it. Yeah, so it kind of is like loose like this. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and add that right in. Okay. Next ingredient is vanilla extract. That gives it like yummy flavor. Right in. And then the eggs. The eggs are another rising ingredient. The eggs also help the dough to rise. And I pre-did it, so I'm just gonna add that right in. Now, as you can see, I didn't mix anything yet, and I'm not gonna mix it anytime soon. So we'll just keep on going. All right, after all those ingredients are in your bowl, the next ingredients you're gonna add is the flour, which is obviously the most important. If you don't put flour in your dough, you will have no dough. It will be just this. So I'm gonna open my bag of flour. Yes.
2 eggs and then 2 yolks.
Yes.
So 2 eggs and then 2 additional yolks?
Yes. That gives the dough a thicker consistency than a typical challah dough. It gives it like a denser consistency. So yeah, highly recommend following that ingredient. So I am going to add 3 cups of flour. So 1, 2, 3. Now, if you've noticed, I haven't added the salt yet. And the reason why I don't add the salt at the beginning is because when you put salt with yeast, it can destroy the yeast or murder the yeast or kill the yeast, and then your babka won't rise. So you always want to add the salt at the very end, the last possible ingredient, so that the yeast is already activating with the sugar and the water without the salt, and the salt is just what brings out the flavor of everything. Yes.
Miriam, I noticed that you did the flour, didn't.
I know, I didn't. So I'm going to do it the next time. For the first time, it doesn't matter because I'm just doing half. So so I'll tell you the situation with the flour and with babka. It'll say in a recipe 4 cups of flour, and they'll say level it or measure it, but the only real way to get the exact right amount of flour would be to measure it. And I don't have a scale with me, So I'm gonna do it all by touch and by feel. But this is right. This is whatever, what it says here is right, and you will level it. But because it was the first 3, and now I'm gonna add the salt. I'm gonna add the salt next, right on top of that. And next I'm gonna mix it. For the next 3, I'm gonna be more careful to be level so that I can, as I go, I can feel to make sure it's the right consistency. But as you're going and as you're adding the flour, you're gonna have to pay attention to the feel of the dough. And one trick I always give is that you only add half the flour at a time, which is what I just did. I'm not adding all 6 cups at the same time, because what if there wasn't enough? What if you put in a little bit too little liquid and then you add all your flour, all of a sudden your dough is too dry. So if you add half the amount of flour, which is what I just did, now I'm gonna give it a mix. So it's my first time mixing it, and it's gonna turn into like a Play-Doh paste. Then even as I add the rest of the flour, I'm gonna be, it's less about measuring and more, the measurement is more of like a guide, and it's more about paying attention to how the dough looks and how the dough feels. All right, I'm gonna mix this up. And yes, I love the questions, because there's not all, sometimes I don't think of everything that you guys all think of, so please ask me along the way.
I'll ask on Zoom if it's a specific type of flour or any.
I use all purpose, but you could, I would say you can use all purpose or bread flour, or like cake flour is fine too. All right, now I'm gonna add another 3. Okay, so 1, 2. I can see it needs more, because see how it says 6 to 8? So you have to just kind of pay attention to it. And I could see already it used more. Maybe I added a little bit more water than was called for. So I'm gonna add a little bit more. I'm gonna go ahead and mix it. Now I'm gonna be mixing my dough with a spoon or a spatula until it feels too hard to mix. And when it starts to feel too hard to mix, that's when I'll get rid of the spoon and I'll start using my hands. And that's when you knead. And kneading, which I'll show you, is using your hands to work the dough. So it's still able to mix, which to me means that this is not forming a ball of dough, which means I know I need to add more flour. So I'm gonna add a little bit more. Okay, already I feel like it's a little hard to turn. So I'm gonna take my spatula, I'm gonna put it to the side, and then I'm gonna use my hands. So the way I knead dough, and this is challah dough or babka dough or any kind of dough, is I'm always gonna be pulling the dough towards myself. So I'll show you, and if you have any questions, you can ask me. But I'll take my hands, I put it under the dough, kind of like I wanna carry it or pick it up, and then I fold it over and bring it towards myself and push it down. Then I turn the bowl and I do it again. So pick up the dough, bring it towards myself. Turn the bowl, bring it towards myself. Turn the bowl, bring it towards myself. And then I do that over and over and over again until a ball of dough forms. And it's a little scary, like, oh, what do I do? How do I do it? But that's literally how you do it. You want to turn the bowl as you go. And just bring it towards yourself. So don't worry about going away from yourself or like poking holes into it. Literally just bring it towards yourself. It's a sign for later that you'll eat all the babka yourself. Focus on that. It's all about you. You don't have to share it. No, you should share it. All right, already it's becoming, and then sometimes I do that. I hold the side of the bowl and I actually turn it. And I still bring it towards myself. I'm just using my fists instead of my fingers. So like this. And then I'm a little OCD when it comes to my bowl, and I like it to be clean. So I take a little tiny piece of dough and I go around the edges and I clean the sides. Although it's not working right now, but usually it does, I promise. Okay, and that's it. And then you have a beautiful round ball of dough for babka. I'm gonna bring it around so everybody can touch it. I know you have it in front of you, but literally you just saw this come together before your eyes. So I'm gonna let you, or Or you could just look at it. Oh, you put on your gloves, you can touch it with your gloves. Now, babka dough actually rises a lot faster than challah dough. So babka dough, I would say, rises in like half an hour. And challah dough, sorry, and challah dough rises in like an hour or two. And the reason why is because there's a lot more heavy ingredients inside babka dough, like the margarine and the extra eggs. Yes, exactly. There's always going to be a little bit of discrepancies between dough, just because they're handmade by us. So there's not going to be a piece of plastic where it feels exactly the same all around. Sorry. But I yes, right towards yourself. Like that. Yeah. If anybody rips their gloves, putting them on, please let me know. I have plenty of gloves, so I can give you another pair. Okay. Or you could just use your hands. You know, the gloves are like an extra. If you want to just use your hands, that's totally fine. So once the dough is done, what I would do is I would cover it with like a towel or a piece of plastic wrap, and I would just put it on the side for it to rise. Now we don't have to wait for that because I have the dough prepared for you guys. So the next step is the fun step. Thank you.
Does the plastic wrap or the towel have to touch the dough while it's rising?
No, it doesn't. You can just literally put it right on top like that. Doesn't have to touch. Okay.
What are you missing?
Nothing. Okay. Okay. So everybody can put on their gloves or just use their hands, whatever they're comfortable with. There should be an apron. Or not. Do you have? Okay, fine. If anybody wants to protect their wonderful, beautiful clothes, Hani will hand you an apron. If you want to wear gloves. Does anybody need another pair of gloves? No water. No. Because I made the dough for you guys, so you don't have to worry about making the dough. I was just showing you how to do it if you want to do it at home on your own time, which I highly recommend it because it's not so hard and it's fun and it tastes yummy. Yeah. Okay, while Connie is handing out the aprons, isn't it so cute? I know, they're the cutest little rolling pins. I love them. While Connie's handing out the aprons, you can take your dough out of your bag and place it in the middle of your mat, which is right, this is your mat, and this is your dough. Take your dough, and you're gonna place it on your mat. Out of the bag. And I'm gonna use some of my dough that I just made. Now, there's also extra flour on each table. See over here, what it looks like. And all that is if your dough feels a little sticky, the flour just kind of helps you to make sure it's not. Yeah, no, it shouldn't. Just yeah. I love my babka dough because it should not be sticky to work with, but the flour is there just in case.
How long to rise and in the fridge or on the table?
What?
How long do you wait for it to rise?
So about a half an hour, and not in the fridge. If you put it in the fridge, it'll stall it. So that actually works if, let's say you make the babka dough in the morning, but you have to run an errand and you don't want it to overrise. Stick it in the fridge, it won't rise at all. And then when you come home from your errand, you can take it out of the fridge, let it rise for half an hour, and then continue on with your work. But if you want to make it that day, just leave it on your counter, or that, within that hour, leave it on your counter, and about a half an hour to an hour later, you can start to work with it. How long?
If you have it in the fridge.
Oh, you probably need an extra hour on top of it because you want it to come to room temperature and then rise.
This is cold.
I did stick it in the fridge. If it's cold, it's fine. It's okay. As long as it's not frozen. Let me feel yours. I have more here if it's too cold. Yeah.
Worry about not-
Yeah, exactly. I put some flour just in case you need it. I wouldn't add it if it's not sticky. It's just there in case your dough is sticky. Yeah.
You have to worry about.
Falling?
Yeah, like sometimes a cake and then.
Oh, no.
Never happened.
No. You have to make sure you bake it long enough. If you don't bake it, it'll Okay, so what we're gonna do is we are going to, so you don't need the knives yet. We're actually doing it a little, if you were with me on the last babka bake, we're doing it a little different this time. So both ways, all ways of making babka are good. I'm just switching it up and doing something a little different. So you're gonna take your rolling pin and you are gonna roll your dough out till it reaches all the corners of the mat. So it's gonna be as wide as the mat. Yes, now you can start by using your hands to kind of just flatten it out, and then you can use the rolling pin to kind of get to all the corners. Now, don't worry about it being perfect. It's just about getting it as thin as possible on all corners of the mat. Now, the thing with dough, and specifically yeast dough, is it needs time to rest in order for it to be rolled. So as you're rolling the dough, if you're feeling resistance, stop, put your rolling pin down, count to 10, and pick up your rolling pin and start again. So you don't want to push it too hard that your dough will rip. If you think you're about to rip your dough, put the rolling pin down, take some deep breaths, and then go back and start again.
What size is your mat?
Oh,
What size is your mat if we're gonna do it at home?
it doesn't really matter. The mat is just like a guide, but if you want to just make it into one big rectangle.
10 by 13.
10 by 13, but that's just like, you can make yours a little bigger, you can make yours a little smaller. So this is actually like a quarter. What you have in front of you is actually just one babka, which is like a quarter of a recipe. This makes about 5 to 6 babkas, the full recipe. Okay. So I'm going to come around and just check on all of your. Oh no. No, I didn't bring that today. No, it's perfect. It probably needs rest. You know what I mean? Like, probably needs rest. Don't worry about like, okay. Can I use yours for an example? Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna show you pinkies. This was pinkies, see? So you don't worry about getting exactly every corner, it's just a guide. Okay, and if it's not going, give it a rest. If you need to take a break, that's the thing. The dough sometimes is perfect. The dough sometimes needs to rest in order for it to expand. And kind of like us as people, we can't become the best versions of ourselves without rest, right?
About how thick does it end up?
Say it one more time.
About how thick does it end up? Quarter of an inch?
Like a quarter of an inch, yeah.
Yeah.
Like a quarter of an inch, really thin.
He's actually gonna do it.
Very good. But I've been doing this for so long, I can almost do it in my sleep. Like, it's like, I'm very, very fast. Good job, everybody. Everyone's looked fantastic when I went around. If you did get a little hole in the middle, you can just patch it up by either pushing it together or taking a little bit of the dough from the edge and bringing it into that spot. Okay, good job, everybody.
This is why we pay so much for babka. Gotta keep the dough down the hole.
The rest of the need to relax. Miriam? Yes.
All right, I'll drop them off when I can.
Do you notice how nice and easy it is to use this dough? I think a lot of times people are so afraid to make things with dough because they're afraid it's going to be sticky and it's going to get everywhere. But this dough is literally magic dough. It's not sticky. It's easy to use. Doesn't make a huge mess. And a trick that I have at home is either to use a plastic mat like this, or I have like marble countertops. I line the countertop in plastic wrap and saran wrap, and I work on that because I need a big space to do all my work. And then when I'm done, I just roll up the saran wrap and throw it in the garbage. And it's like the easiest cleanup and no mess.
Maybe this one is the correct size.
Yes, this is about the size that you're gonna wanna do it. Yes. Okay, now in front of you, you are going to have a container of chocolate. Now I'm noticing there's some extra ones, but I'm not sure what you wanna do with them. But if you wanna use them to make yours more chocolatey, or if you don't like yours super chocolatey and you wanna give some to somebody else, that's fine, whatever works. But you can actually use your hands. That's my favorite thing. Or you can use a glove or a knife. But what you want to do is you want to spread the chocolate onto the dough. I'm going to use my hands because it's a little thick. So you just want to kind of spread it out like this. It kind of feels like brownie batter a bit.
Miriam,
Yeah.
bring cinnamon too.
I didn't, not this time.
You go in. Most people go for chocolate, right?
So you put it all over.
Yeah.
Who doesn't
Yeah.
like chocolate?
You put it all over the dough.
Everyone.
We have a friend who's allergic, which is why she doesn't make it.
Oh, okay.
The chocolate?
Yeah, very sad for her.
Now, I'm gonna come around with some extra chocolate if you think you're gonna want. Just raise your hand and I'll give you some extra.
I'll take whatever.
Here, so why don't you guys use this one? And here, you guys. Here's the, yeah, good job. So when you're at yeah, your fingers is the best way to do it, guys. I highly recommend it. Here, and then like the way you get a baby back. Thank you. Now, when it comes to the filling, this is a little thick, and I think I know why, because I made it this morning and it sat out and it thickened over time. When I actually made it, it's a lot thinner. But I'm not gonna do it right now, but you could add a little water to it to thin it out. And here's anyone want a little extra?
You have a question on the team about that. What type of chocolate do you use?
Okay, so you can use any kind of cocoa. I use the kind that they sell at Costco. But you can use Hershey's or whatever you have in your local supermarket. It all works. Now I have more chocolate here. If anybody wants more, just raise your hand. You need chocolate chips. You can add like cocoa powder. And if you can, I would actually spread the chocolate all the way to the edge of your dough. Yes, and please, you can totally use your rolling pin to spread.
Yeah, you guys gotta keep the rolling pin and mat.
No, it's not bad, and it's not a perfect rectangle. You're doing great. Yeah. Yeah, that's what we.
Is this good?
Yeah.
Yeah, good job.
All right.
I don't know about you, but I actually find this process to be extremely therapeutic. Anything to do with my hands, it's just so relaxing, and whenever I'm doing it, I always take the time to put on music and just.
Aren't you supposed to be singing to us?
Sure, but in another life. Connie, I think that was Connie's job.
Bahama said you should not.
It's true. Now, you don't have to worry about the chocolate being absolutely perfect. I don't know if you can see in in the video, see how there's some like holes in my chocolate? See how it's not like totally perfect? That's fine. It doesn't have to be totally perfect. You want to just get it as evenly spread on your dough as possible. I think that's my favorite thing about babka. I know I said a lot of things are my favorite, but this is actually my favorite, is that it doesn't have to be perfect. With a cake, it's extremely scientific. If you mess up on even one ingredient, the whole cake can flop. With here, once your dough is done, the actual creation of the babka, which is what we're doing now.
Are you using 1/6 of the recipe that you provided?
Yes. Well, I just doubled this recipe that I have here in front of you guys, and then I divided it into 12, and I did that 4 times. So I can't tell you exactly, but yeah, 1/6, that would make sense. Yes, but I would not recommend making this recipe into a 6. I don't think it will work.
Change it to half the recipe.
No, I already halved it for you. You could half it again if you wanted to. Yeah. Just the way you make cheesecake, maybe thicken it up with like some thicker, like the hard cream cheese. Yeah, that's what I just. One. This makes 1 babka. No, that makes 6.
Wait, so when you double this,
But if you're gonna go through the trouble of making babka, you want to make a lot because you want 3 for you, maybe 5, and 1 to give to a friend.
now is this the Weight Watchers version?
Sorry.
Is this the Weight Watchers
Okay. Now, once your chocolate is spread nice and evenly on your dough, we are going to roll it up tightly like a jelly roll. So you can start from where you're sitting, and you're just gonna take it with your fingers and roll it up nice and tight like a jelly roll. Width. This way, from your, like, width.
Yeah, you're doing it from here. This way.
Yeah,
Long way.
the long way, yeah. And you're just gonna roll it up. And when you're done rolling it up, it's gonna look like one long log or snake, like that. We are gonna be cutting in half, but we're not there yet. You're just rolling it. You're rolling it from top to bottom till you have one long log in front of you. Width-wise. Am I saying it right? Width? Is this the width?
It's too confusing, just the long way.
The long way. So, let's say it's a 10 by 13 by the 13.
The way that makes it longer.
Yeah, the longer way.
It's like a burrito.
So you're gonna roll it up. Now, if you notice, now that we rolled it up, any imperfection that was there has disappeared because we rolled it up and hit it. So it is absolutely gone. Now, once it's rolled up, you are gonna take a knife and you're gonna cut it in half right down the middle. So now you're gonna have 2. And you're gonna place them side by side, just like this. Look at the video to see what I did, just side by side. So yes, very good.
Mary, I have a question from Zoom.
Yeah,
Would Nutella work?
yes, Nutella would work 100%.
Wait, what are we talking about?
No, it does not have to be exactly even.
Rolls like your ball. I'm gonna wait, I'm gonna give it a couple seconds till everybody's on the same page. But I'll just tell you the next step. The next step is to take your tray, your cutting board, and turn it like this.
it's long in front of you. Yeah, just like that. Very good. Now, when you put them side by side, you want to make sure that it's opposite. So you want to make sure that one side is thicker to thinner to thicker to thinner. Most of you did it right. Yours was right. Yours was right. Exactly. Here, you were right. Yeah, exactly. You did it. You did it right. Exactly.
Like that.
That's right. Yes, that's right. Exactly. Opposite. Exactly. Very good. Now, we're gonna give it a minute because some people are still catching up. I don't want them to totally fall behind.
Don't go fast.
Mine is a little longer. Okay.
They have questions.
Yes. That's because I had just used a lot more dough, but we're gonna elongate.
Okay.
Now we're gonna get. Yeah. You're good. You're done. Now, remember how I said before how you want to give your toe, or your toe, sure, you want to, your dough time to rest so that it's easier to stretch. So if you feel like the ones in front of you are not long enough, let's give it another minute. And then all you have to do is take your hands and just stretch them out a little bit, just like this, till they reach. But yeah, exactly. Just stretch them out. Another thing is the seam should be on the bottom. So the seam of the end of your jelly roll should be on the bottom. See these seams over here? You want them on the bottom.
Oh, sure.
What? Like this.
So the seam. Yeah, that's part of it. That's So imagine you did your jelly roll, you put your seam on the bottom, right? My information right here. We're stretching it out.
How long?
This is perfect.
Yeah. Longer.
I get that in my house. So I'm paused. I'm really right.
How long do we need it?
How long do you need it?
In my
All right. Okay, the next step is you're gonna take your knife, okay? And don't do anything yet, because I don't want you to, don't do anything yet.
1 second. Let me see.
Oh, give it a minute. Yes, do that. Have some sword fight with your friends. Sorry, I'm doing it around you. Yeah, make them a little longer. Don't be afraid to mess with it, you know what I mean?
Don't rip that easy.
They don't, no, well, it's like giving a massage, like you can, you can hurt the person or you can slowly massage the dough so it goes slow. All right, so the next step is, remember, don't do it yet. Wait till I explain it and then we'll do it together. You're gonna take your knife and you're gonna make one long cut in the dough from the top to the bottom, but you're not going all the way down. You're not cutting it in half, you're just going about halfway through. So I'm gonna show it to you, and then if you feel comfortable doing it, do it. If you have a question, ask me and I'll show you what to do. So I'm not going all the way down, I'm literally just going about a quarter to halfway through. So it looks like that. So you see some of the layers of the chocolate in the dough. Do you see that?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead. Now you do it.
On both of them?
On both of them, yes. I just didn't want to do the second one until everybody saw what I did, and then I can do it again if you want.
Supposed to be stretched out the whole.
No. No.
Anything that not.
Most of it.
Not cut. Those are better than.
That's good.
Some people are surgery, it's like for surgery.
You guys are perfect. Oh, okay. Now, I'm gonna do it again on the other side so you can all see what I'm doing. Let me come see. Okay, just like that.
Everyone has a knife?
All right, now once they're all cut through,
What,
you are going to take your hands and you're gonna place them on the bottom of each of your dough, and you're just gonna make an X. You're gonna just cross them over it down the middle, just like that. Yep, just like that. Just cross them over. Yeah, I'll come around. Yep, that's, yep. Yep. Like that, faster. Anyway. Exactly like that. Yeah.
Miriam,
That's fine, that's fine. Once you put it in the pan and it bakes, all the imperfections that you're nervous about, like you see, are gonna be just perfect. Okay. And then you're just gonna exit again on the top and again on the bottom till you get that babka shape. So, which is a twist. So we're just twisting it. So you're just gonna exit again and exit again. So I'm gonna come around and help you.
what,
Oh, I'm here. I'm here. Hello.
what were you accomplishing with the slit? In other words, to understand
just
how deep, what was the purpose? Just to
It's
give it
just
a
to
look?
look. Aesthetics.
Okay. Good.
Yeah, just for look. All right. Perfect. Yes. So beautiful. Yeah, you feel it in the video, you might see it up.
How did you get some pictures? This is the final product.
The main look that you're trying, perfect. The main look that you're trying to go for is you want to be able to see those chocolatey lines on the top. Then you take your dough and you put it in your pan, which Connie came around and sprayed. If you have some extra chocolate, you can go ahead and put it on the top, sure.
Okay, should I go around with the sample now?
Yeah. Wait, what did you say?
I said this is much easier than long
No, you're not cutting it out. Literally just putting it. I just cut mine out of my Thank you. Sorry, I forgot to announce that. I just cut mine out of my
Wait, why'd you cut?
Yeah, literally just pick it up and put it in there. Now, so now I'm gonna talk to you a little bit about what you do next. So up here, first of all, give yourself a round of applause. You all did amazing. So the next step is baking it, because obviously you're not gonna eat it raw. So let's say you wanna make it tonight. What you're gonna do is you're gonna, here's a little plastic bag up here. You're gonna put your pan in a plastic bag. You're gonna twist tie it. Oh, well, you know what? They all have plastic bags, Connie. Reuse the ones you have. Oh, okay, then don't throw those away. Thank you. So you're gonna, sorry, someone on Zoom had a question?
Yeah. Can you use sugar substitute?
You can, but I do not think it'll taste the same. If you can use a sugar substitute. Like use Splenda or something else. I wouldn't. I mean, I'm sure people have, but when it comes to babka, you want the real deal. You want it done right. Yeah. So for this one, because I did a different look, my friend Andrea asked the question, if you've ever had my babka before, there's a sugar crumb topping on top. Now I specifically left it out of this babka because I did a different look for this babka, which is, as you can see the swirls. So when you go home and you bake it, you'll see if you put the sugar crumb top on top, you don't get that pretty look. So I left it off this recipe. But if you want to do it, the recipe for the sugar crumb is on the back. So you could make it at home and do it yourself, or for this one, I would just leave it blank. It's totally unnecessary. But I'm gonna give you a couple options of what you can do next. So once it's in the bag, you can go home. You can let it rise for another like hour or hour-ish. Preheat your oven to 350, what did I say? 350, and then you can bake it. Don't bake it with the plastic bag. Please take it out of the plastic bag and then bake it. And then you can either eat it immediately or you can freeze it after it cools down for a later date. But let's say you're exhausted, you've had the longest day ever and you just want to go to bed and you don't want to stay up to bake right now. You can stick it in the bag just like this. You can go home and you can freeze it just like this. And then at a later date, you can take it out of the freezer. You can defrost it till it comes to room temperature and then let it rise. I would say it takes about 5 or 6 hours. Just leave it all day and then bake it when it's risen. And when I say risen, you want the dough to come up to the top of the pan. Do you mind if I use your example? So I'm just gonna come over here so everybody can see. Is the camera. So as you can see, the dough comes up till about there. So you want the dough to come up a little higher, like about a quarter higher. You don't need it to double, but about a quarter higher till it's about level with the edge of the pan, and then it's ready to bake. Now, before you bake yeah?
And
Say it again?
it's just gonna rise basically a little bit. Not very
just a little
much.
bit. It'll rise more in the oven.
Oh, yeah. Oh, while it's baking? Okay,
Yes.
He's just so funny.
Yes, it'll rise.
good.
It'll rise more in the oven.
It's her.
So another thing I want to mention is before you bake it, you can take some egg white or an egg wash and egg it, and then it will have a really pretty shine. So I recommend doing that as well. Don't do it if you're going to freeze it tonight. Just do it if you're going to bake it tonight.
Chances are you're gonna eat it in one sitting. I mean, it's really hard not to.
And that's how you make a babka. Yeah. The spoon was as an option to spread the chocolate, but we used our hands, so it was just there as an option. Yeah.
How long should it bake?
They're 30 to 40 minutes. When you start to smell it, when you start to smell it and it is very strong, fragrant, and it looks brown on the top, I would say then it's done.
It's brown on top, yeah.
Huh? Yes. It's up to you. Egg white, both, it doesn't really matter. It just gives it a shine.
Do you grease the baking pan or no? Or just leave it?
Yes, you do. You grease the baking
Grease.
pan. Yeah, we used pan.
Oh, okay, thank you.
You are asking me a question about high altitude. I'm not sure, but I would just Google it and see like any typical baking, like whatever it says differently. What is it usually, like less flour?
No.
Okay, so I would probably do that then. When I first moved to Phoenix, I was convinced that I was living at a high altitude. So everything when I first started, and this was not when I was baking, but I moved from Boston. I'm from Boston. So whenever I was like just even making like a chocolate chip cookie, I'm like, oh, that's me. I gotta change it up, but it wasn't. It was wrong. I realize that now. Then I thought it was different.
You
Any more
have to,
questions?
Do you have to use the oblong pans? Otherwise it would spread on a cookie sheet?
100%, yes. You need to lose, you can use any loaf pan you want, but you can't just bake it on a cookie sheet or on a free pan. Otherwise, the whole thing will just kind of like blob. You want it to rise up, so you need the sides to make it work.
All right, everybody's welcome to take home your mats and your rolling pins if you'd like. And thank you all for joining. Thank you so much, Miriam. And enjoy your babkas.